Hello, welcome back. In this video, we're going to go through an exercise where we're going to evaluate the derivatives of inverse functions. And we have two exercises. In one of them, we're going to take the derivative of the arc cotangent root x, and in the second one, we're going to take the derivative of this piece, which has nothing to do with the inverse of a trig function. But we have the inverse trig function popping up here, that's arc sine x over 3. And we're going to take the derivatives of these two functions. Before we hit the road, I want to remind you about the formulas we derived in this lecture. For part A, we're going to need the derivative of the arc cotan function. So for that purpose, we're going to use this formula here. Essentially, if you have arc cotangent of a function of x, which is u here, the derivative of the arc cotangent u is equal to minus the derivative of u divided by 1 plus u squared. So for our example here, u function is exactly equal to root x, so I'm going to call this to be u. And all I need to take the derivative of this is the prime of that. So let me just find u prime right here. So u prime is going to be the derivative of root x. So why don't we use the power rule for this, but we first need to rewrite this in the exponent form, all right? So we're going to take the prime of that. So power rule says that this is equal to 1/2 x to the power of 1/2 minus 1. If you simplify this, so it becomes 1 over 2 root x, because x to the power of negative 1/2 is 1 over root x. And let's go ahead and then use this formula here. All right, f prime is equal to minus u prime, which is exactly this, minus 1 over 2 root x, divided by 1 plus u squared. Well, u is root x. The square of that is just x. So this takes care of part A. All right, part B is slightly more complicated because we have one piece here, another piece here. For the derivative of this piece here, we are going to use the product rule because it's the product of x and the radical 4 minus x squared. For the derivative of this piece here, we're going to use the formula of this lecture, which is the derivative of arc sine of u of x, and that's u prime divided by radical 1 minus u squared. So why don't we start finding the derivative of the first piece? All right, we take the derivative of the first function, multiply it by the second, plus we keep the first one and multiply it by the derivative of this function. But to take the derivative of this function, why don't we write it in the exponent form so we can actually use the general power rule or the chain rule. All right, let's go ahead and take the derivatives here. So the derivative of x is 1, so this is going to be radical just 4 minus x squared. And plus x times the derivative of this piece. So let's apply the general power rule here. So the derivative of this here is going to be 1/2 4 minus x squared 1/2 minus 1. But since you have an inner function here, we take the derivative of that too. So this is multiplied by the derivative of 4 minus x squared. All right, I carried forward this term here. I have x here, 1/2 here, and then this term here is 4 minus x squared to the power of negative 1/2. But if you use the reciprocal of that, that's 1 over 4 minus x squared to the power of 1/2. That's exact radical 4 minus x squared. And the derivative of this piece here is just minus 2x here. So the next thing is just to simplify this term, all right? So basically 2's cancel here, so we have x and negative 2x here, negative x here, sorry, and this becomes negative x squared divided by this radical term. We can also find a common factor here to bring these two pieces together. I can put a 1 here and get a common factor, and the common factor is exactly this radical term. So we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by the radical term and deduce that 4 minus 2x squared divided by radical 4 minus x squared. So this part takes care of only the derivative of this piece here, and we also have to take care of the derivative of this. All right, in the next step, I'm gonna add the derivative of the last piece to this piece here. So I put a plus sign here, arc sine x over 3 prime. If we use the formula derived in this lecture notes, calling this argument to be u, so all we're gonna do is using the formula, which is u prime divided by radical 1 minus u squared. So let me just continue from here. U prime, that's exactly equal to 1/3, right? 1/3 divided by radical 1 minus u squared. Well, u is x over 3. I'm just going to plug in x over 3 here and take the quantity square of that. Turns out that the derivative of this function here is this piece plus this piece here. You can go ahead and simplify this further as well. All right, this is the end of the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in another video. Bye.